Bleacher Report came out with an article with their trade targets for every team, including the New York Knicks, and Chris and I are here to break it all down. All that and much more on the Knicks Digest. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dariel and Chris. And yeah, Chris, so reporter from Bleacher Report by the name of Dan Favell came out with a trade target list for every NBA team. And talking about the Knicks specifically, he was talking about five guys, I'm sorry. And the list includes Mikal Bridges, Malcolm Brogdon, Bojan Bogdanovic, DeJounte Murray, and Colin Sexton. I wanted to let you know that I actually have changed my opinion as far as the number one player the Knicks should go after in trade target. And it might surprise you, yo. So the number one player I think the Knicks should go after, I actually have Colin Sexton. Again, this goes towards the backup point guard situation. I'm looking towards the end of the season, into the playoffs. I got Colin Sexton's numbers up here, averaging for the Utah Jazz 17.5 points, 2.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, shooting 48.3% from the field, and converting 38.5 from three-point land. Now, in my defense, Colin Sexton, I feel like to NBA fans and hoopers, I feel like Colin Sexton gets a bad rap, but when I saw him play against the Knicks, I think that was last week, I don't know, man. I just like his tenacity, bro. Like, and I think it was last night or 2 nights ago where he was going up against, it was the Bucks, and I think like Giannis fell down and then he walked over Giannis. And I don't know, man. I just like his attitude. His attitude is basically like, yo, I don't care who's in front of me. I'm going to play you like a bull. And we kind of need that. We don't really have that on the Knicks roster. We don't have anybody who's going to get nasty and grimy and like people that the chance can like get behind for. We're the Knicks fans, we're 100% behind Jalen Brunson because we know he's our best player. But as far as someone that's going to stick up for our teammates, for the other players, that's the kind of player I'm kind of talking about.
Colin Sexton in his first 3 NBA seasons, 2 of them he averaged over 20 points per game. Yeah, there was bad teams, with the Cavs, but
yeah,
20 points per game, then 24 points per game. Good numbers, solid player in Utah so far. Obviously, one of his final season in Cleveland, he played 11 games. I don't really count that year because he got injured instantly, and his numbers were down across the board regardless. Didn't really play a ton last year either. But he's been good this year. I mean, really good, like 17.5 points off the bench for the most part. And then shooting nearly 40% from 3, shooting 48% from the field. And I agree with you. The Knicks don't really have that, like, they have Josh Hart, who's sort of like a bulldog type player, who's like going to be like doing some of the dirty work. But we don't have a guy who's willing to who's willing to get up in other people's faces if like a team starts talking. And I love that. I love that idea. I think teams could use that type of player. It's the energy that Patrick Beverley brings to teams. And also Sexton's just a solid scorer. The Knicks could use more scoring off the bench. Obviously, the bench has been better than I've given it credit for, but they still could use the extra scoring punch. He's a combo guard, so him and Deuce McBride can kind of work off each other. Each one can bring up the ball sometimes.
The thing with Deuce is that like I don't see the confidence. Like he knows he's getting his minutes and he's trying to take advantage of it. So salute to Deuce. But with Colin Sexton, like yo, he does not care who's in front of him. He's going after him. He's going after the KDs. He thinks he's the best player on the floor. And sometimes you need that like irrational confidence of like, yo, I'm going up against KD. I'm going up against Anthony Edwards, LeBron, AD. But I'm the best player on the court. And
yeah, I mean, it's great.
Yeah, and then in the playoffs, again, the Jalen Brunson minutes when he's on the bench, who's going to be able to carry those minutes? And Colin Sexton, he's been a NBA at this point. I guess you could say he's an NBA veteran. He's been in the league for what? Maybe you want to say like seven years now. Something.
This is season 6.
Oh, okay. Season 6. So like in today's world, is kind of like an NBA veteran, which is kind of crazy. I was looking at the article earlier today, and then Malcolm. Mikal Bridges, I'm like, nah, the Nets are not going to do anything with that. They're definitely not going to let him go. Bojan Bogdanovic, like, yeah, solid player. Malcolm Brogdon, we've talked about a lot. I'm a little concerned because of injury plague. So yeah, I mean, Colin Sexton, he just jumped at the top of my list, and it's something that you said a little earlier. Like, yeah, his seasons with Cleveland Cavaliers, they were bad teams. So he was kind of looked at as like a stats guy, putting up good numbers, but on the bad teams, putting up empty stats. So I get the whole stigma that he has on him. But I feel like if he's put in a winning situation, I feel like the intangibles that he'll bring would just like really really raise the level of the Knicks.
I remember when we were doing that list and we were kind of listing off trade targets. I didn't really know that Brogdon Sexton was having as good of a season as he was having. He's playing really well with the Jazz. I sort of just blindly believed that he was an empty stats guy because he's never been on a playoff team before.
Right.
So I was kind of curious to realize that this guy is as good as he is, and he's also a hard-nosed defender. Is he the greatest defender in the world? No, but he's also not a bad defender at all, and he's very rough. He's not going to let you just walk through him. He's not one of those guys. He's decently sized for a guard. I'm not against the idea of Colin Sexton at all. My two big fears with him are, one, he has had a few injuries, not the injury history that Brogdon has had. I'm not a major Malcolm Brogdon supporter, so I can't really bring injuries as one of them.
Right.
My main two concerns is the fact that, as I said, he's never played in the playoffs before in his career, and also the Jazz. It's not even Sexton's fault. It's Danny Ainge. And I feel like Danny Ainge is exactly just going to ask for Evan Fournier, since the contracts line up almost perfectly between Sexton and Fournier. And then also like Grimes, and then like a first, or just like Fournier and two firsts or something. I feel like he's just going to overvalue Colin Sexton just so he can get the entire media to be like, oh, look, Danny Ainge robbed the Knicks. Ha 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 ha. How funny is that? He did it. He robbed the New York Knicks. Like,
yeah, that whole Ainge rivalry, like he takes it back to like when he was playing Boston and the Knicks at the time the Knicks had a decent team, and then ever since Ainge was like a GM with the Boston Celtics, there are like rumors that he never even gave the Knicks an opportunity to like even call him.
Just to tie it in, we know this is true because the Cavs traded, I believe it was 3 unprotected and 2, or maybe not 3 unprotected, but 3 picks and 2 swaps, along with Sexton, Markkanen, and Ochai for Donovan Mitchell. At one point, there was the framework of a trade that was RJ Quickly and Mitch, and 3 firsts for Donovan Mitchell. Ainge probably took a little bit of a worse deal just to not let Donovan Mitchell go to the Knicks.
Based off of this list, is there somebody that you're kind of like, yeah, we should definitely go after this guy? The Mikal Bridges, I feel like, I don't know why, it's kind of like unrealistic, so I don't know if you want to include them in that list, but hit me with their number 1 target, if you will.
I mean, I don't know if you just knew exactly where I was going by saying that, but obviously my number 1 is Mikal Bridges, but it's not going to happen.
Of course.
I mean, just to give him some talking points, because I don't know how much we've ever really done a duo when talking about Mikal Bridges.
I don't think so.
I think he fits with the Knicks so well. Like, just imagine that defense of just, I mean, Brunson is not a bad defender for someone who seems like they should be a bad defender.
Right.
And then imagine Mikal and OG on the wings together. That is ruthless. Then if Mitch comes back, that would be an elite defense. One of the best defenses in the NBA. I would absolutely love that. But it just feels like the Nets would never trade. It seems like they're not going to trade Bridges at all, but especially not to the Knicks. They would not let it happen.
But why would they? I mean, honestly, I don't know Mikal Bridges' contract, so I don't know if the numbers match. But like, as far as just a basketball player, Mikal Bridges, as of right now, is the Nets' best basketball player, the best asset that they have. So they obviously want to. They're gonna want to build around him. So why would they just trade him like that? That's unrealistic. Another point that I want to bring up: if by some miracle that he comes to the Knicks, the Nova boys would be complete.
Yes.
That's like I don't know that's like a movie waiting to happen. You got Villanova boys coming to the New York Knicks organization, led by Jalen Brunson, completely saving the organization from like a joke of what we've been for the past decade, 2 decades, whatever you want to call it. And that's like kids that went to Villanova, 1 championship or 2 championships, coming to the Knicks, reviving the organization. Like that's just like a weird but like an awesome story. So story-wise, that would be sick. But you know, you and I we're realists, so we don't think it's gonna happen.
It would be great if it did happen. I mean, the 5 of them, contrary to the conception that people believe, the 5 of them did not play together. They all played at Villanova, and most of them played together. But Dante
Right.
DiVincenzo and Mikal Bridges did not play on Villanova together, unlike many people think. But, the rest of them did all play together. They all have at least 3 mutual teammates. Arcidiacono was there for most of them. Brunson was there for all of them. Josh Hart was there for all of them. And every time that anything with Mikal Bridges happens, Josh Hart just openly tampers on Twitter because he's such a goofball, he can get away with it. Now, Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson are starting a podcast together. I don't know if this is one of those podcasts that have guests or if it's just going to be the two of them riffing and ad-libbing the entire time. Either is possible. I could see them having guests sometimes if they do. We know who 3 of those guests are off the bat. It's their 3 friends in New York who they went to college with.
It's probably going to be the first 3 episodes. One, Ryan Arcidiacono. Right. The other episode is going to be Dante. The other episode is going to be Mikal. So.
And you know what they're going to do to Mikal the second that he gets in there. They're going to start just joking around with the Knicks stuff. And just think about if, your friends are just messing with you, and then all of them are on one NBA team together, and you are lucky enough to also be in the NBA, be better than all but one of them. You're in the same city as them. Facts. You're near where you grew up because he's from Philadelphia. And you play for the Brooklyn Nets while the rest of them play for the Knicks. No one wants to play for the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets don't want to play for the Brooklyn Nets. Barclays Center is the darkest arena I've ever seen. I just went to a game. It was pitch black. We've talked about Brogdon enough times, especially in duos with each other, and I've just probably said everything about Brogdon that I could say. I just want him on the Knicks. He's a good shooter, good defender, has not championship pedigree. No, not championship pedigree. He wasn't there with the Bucks.
Yeah.
But he's made a lot of playoff appearances. He's been on a lot of good basketball teams. I think the veteran help would be nice. It's the only reason that he slightly is edging me out over Colin Sexton right now when I'm looking at their stats. I like the pedigree. I think it always helps. DeJounte Murray, again, we've talked about it a lot. Neither of us are moved by DeJounte. I think he's a point guard. I don't want him taking over for Brunson as the point guard, and I really don't want DeJounte Murray as a shooting guard because for some reason no one can understand that the man is a horrible off-ball defender who clearly doesn't care at all when he's playing off-ball defense. This was not the case with the Spurs, but it was with the Hawks. Also, there's a lot of rumors that he's a head case. He's answering DMs from Hawks fans and criticizing them.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Verbally attacking them. There was rumors that during a huddle one time, in the locker room in San Antonio, DeJounte out of nowhere was just like, trade me! I'm not a viable source for that. I've never been to Texas. And then Bojan Bogdanovic, who we actually could spend at least a minute on, is someone who I'm interested in. I have no idea how it would be worth. You would need to give a first for Bojan. Let's be real. He's worth a protected first-round pick. Is he going to get minutes that makes it worth trading for him? Is the question that I have for you.
Is he going to get minutes worth trading him? Well, okay. So you think 1 first round or 2 first round picks? Yeah, because I'm saying Detroit might get they might be selfish and be like, we want 2, which is crazy.
Oh yeah.
So I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't just because I don't think he's going to play enough minutes to where trading a protected first is going to be worth it. I like the idea of Bogdanovic on the Knicks, especially with Randall. We're not exact. He'll probably be back and be okay, but it's what if he's not? Bogdanovic is pretty excellent insurance to have because he's a great scorer. His shot is elite. His defense is better than he gets credit for, though it's obviously getting worse as time goes on.
He's a better overall player than people give him credit for. Like you just said, his defense. I would actually say his overall game. People know that he can shoot.
Good passer.
Yeah, good passer. He could put the ball on the floor. He can create for others, which I think a lot of people don't really talk about. But I don't know, man. It's just something about him that I'm just I don't know. I know it's kind of super bland for me to say, but I'm just based off of what I've seen from him, I'm just I don't know.
I think the fit's great, especially with the bench unit. He could kind of be the lead scorer off the bench. 6'7", can play the small forward or the power forward. If he really can play the shooting guard, he just wouldn't with the Knicks. Averaging 20 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, shooting 47% from the field and 41.5% from 3. The numbers are good. Sure, he's on the Pistons, so the 20 points per game is a little inflated. But we've seen him score 20 points per game in a season before, I believe, with the Indiana Pacers, when they were actually a good team, and I believe they went to the playoffs that year, or at least were close, and then he signed with Jazz the next year. But I do think it would be interesting. It's just I don't see a situation where he gets enough minutes to where it's worth giving a first round pick for him.
No, that's fair. I'm
But
texting
for
you.
real, make sure to check out all of our Knicks Digest content. Subscribe to the channel. It means the world to us. And if you guys do, maybe we'll give some sort of surprise for you guys. I don't know what that is yet. But we got a lot of fun content, especially duos wise, coming for All-Star break. You guys don't want to miss it. We're going to keep talking trades for the next few days. Then we'll move on to some other stuff. Keep it going, though. You don't want to miss a bit of it. So make sure you're subscribed, like this video, post notifications. Have a great day, guys. Go Knicks. We'll catch you later. Peace.
Peace.